Aliens are real. I can and will prove it in this video. Aliens really do exist, and not only that, they might already live among us. Hello and welcome back to Real World Magic, where we make your life more magical. I'm Neil, and today I want to make everyone wake up from a weird sleep. Aliens are real, and here's the thing, if you think I'm a tinfoil hat wearing weirdo, fine. Yeah, that's all I could find. But here's the thing. If you've been waiting for some government to admit that aliens exist, they already have. But for some reason, nobody's noticed. Now that is weird. Some time ago, former US whistleblower Bob Lazar told us that the USA have been holding alien spacecraft, something not made on the Earth. But only a select few believed him. Now, it seems this isn't nonsense. The Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force, a secret branch of the US military, has been conducting classified meetings and briefings for well over 10 years, and some say a lot longer than that. Remember Roswell, New Mexico, back in the 1950s? Now, that organisation was never supposed to exist, but now it's been proven and admitted that it does. Astrophysicist and Pentagon contractor Eric W. Davis said he knew about, and again, I'm quoting here, off-world vehicles not made on this Earth. And he also gave top-secret briefings to the Defense Department agency earlier this year. Of course, all the stuff coming out recently has changed the landscape for UFO investigators, which until now have been seen as almost silly, with weather balloons and swamp gas accounting for most of the sightings. Now, however, it seems that the US government may have been trying to discredit the investigators, and instead the USA has been doing some pretty serious investigations of their own. So, is any of this true? Yes. Weirdly, the mainstream news has already reported a huge number of alien sightings and storylines, but nobody seems to be paying attention to any of these stories. Belgium has had a record number of UFO sightings since the pandemic lockdown. The USA military, at the end of April this year, released UFO footage filmed by naval pilots, and sections of this have been shared online before, and people wondered if it was faked. The US military said it was fake, and now it comes to light that no, it definitely is not fake. It's not deliberately faked anyway. Check out this video that was released by the US military and reported on the BBC website.
There's a whole fleet of them. Oh my gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude. Roger. Is it? It's not. Well, if there's a look at that thing. It's rotating.
And it's not just the BBC sharing this stuff either. A top-secret Pentagon UFO task force is reportedly expected to reveal some findings that they have seized aircraft, spacecraft no less, that were, and I quote, not made on this Earth. Is that real? Yes, it was reported on Fox 10 Phoenix. Don't trust them? That's fair. How about New York Times, the main Fox News? How about the Telegraph? The British Telegraph. But that's not all. On the day after the world found out about the United States Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force, that's an organisation that was previously supposed to not exist, a UFO was spotted over Long Beach, California. Was this mass hysteria or a hallucination following the announcement? No, it was actually filmed. Check this out.
On everything, I didn't even see it. It went by. I didn't even see the motherfucker. Where are you at? Oh, there we go.
This video starts with the sound of F-18 Hornets, US military planes, flying overhead, and that's unusual enough. but not unreasonable. Then we see a UFO appear on the footage and blinking in and out. Okay, it's not the best shot, but it's very consistent with the kinds of footage that's garnered media attention in the last few years and stuff that the US government have already said is a UFO. So it's not just a bunch of weirdos or conspiracy theorists talking about this stuff anymore. It's high-up officials telling us that yes, we know there are UFOs. Yes, we know there are alien spacecraft, and now we're being told that there's up to 80 different intelligent extraterrestrial species roaming around on planet Earth. Is your mind blown yet? And I'm not making this stuff up. Again, it's in mainstream media. Look it up yourself. According to former Defence Minister of Canada, Paul Hellyer, extraterrestrials are already living among us. Now, he's a guy who, as Defence Secretary for Canada, would have had access to some seriously secret stuff. So he should know, right? Look at what he's got to say.
We have a long history of UFOs, and of course, there's been a lot more activity in the last few decades since we invented the atomic bomb, and they're very concerned about that and the fact that we might use it again. And because the whole cosmos is a unity, and it affects not just us, but other people in the cosmos, they're very much afraid that we might be stupid enough to start using atomic weapons again, and this would be very bad for us and for them as well. The first question you have to ask is how many species are there? And I used to think there were, between 2 and 12. And Apollo astronaut Edgar Mitchell, who came to Toronto a few years ago and had dinner with us, agreed there was somewhere between 2 and 12. But the latest reports that I've been getting from various sources are that there are about 80 different species. And some of them look just like us, and they could walk down the street and you wouldn't know if you ran, walked past one. And they're what we call the Nordic blondes, and also the tall whites, who are actually working with the United States Air Force in Nevada. They're able to get away with that. They had a couple of their ladies dressed as nuns went into Las Vegas to shop, and they weren't detected. And I have a friend who saw one of the men walking along the street, and somebody who would recognize that they were different, and he did. So there are those kind, and then there are the short grays, as they're called, and they're the ones that you see in most of the cartoons. They're have very, very slim arms and legs, and they're very short, just a little over 5 feet, and they have a great big torso and a great big head and great big brown eyes. They don't want to tell us how to run our affairs. They have accepted the fact this is our planet, and that we have the right to run it. But they're very, very concerned. They don't think we're good stewards of our planet. We're not. We're clear cutting our forests, and we're polluting our rivers and our lakes, and we're dumping sewage in the oceans, and we're doing all sorts of things which are not what good stewards of their homes should be doing, and they don't like that, and they've made it very clear. And as a matter of fact, they have given us a warning.
How?
And this has come from more than one source.
How have they made it clear? What have they done?
They have talked to people. One of the chaps I talked to about a month ago was interacting with them in 1974, he and his brother in Peru, and they were taken to Andromeda, teleported, and they were told what the people there think, and that we're really wrecking our planet, and in fact that something dreadful is going to happen to it if we don't smarten up and change our ways. We spend too much time fighting each other. We spend too much money on military expenditures and not enough on feeding the poor and looking after the homeless and the sick, and that we are polluting our waters and our air, and that we're playing around with these exotic weapons, thermonuclear weapons and atomic weapons, which have such a devastating effect both on our Earth and on other areas in the cosmos, and they don't like that.
Okay, so these extraterrestrials, these aliens, have advanced technology, but they won't share it with us because of our warring and pollution of our planet. And presumably they're not too happy about us humans even polluting space too. So, is Paul Hellyer a crackpot? Well, not according to Dr. Helen Sherman, the first British astronaut. She actually said back in January of this year, again, look it up yourself, that aliens do exist. And not that they might exist, that they do. And they might already be among us. Interesting, thanks Dr. Sherman. So where have these beings actually come from? Well, first let's talk about something called the Goldilocks Zone. You know the fable of Goldilocks. She commits tons of crimes while harassing a family of bears. She tries their breakfast first, and the first two are too hot or too salty, depending on your version, and the second is too cold or not salty enough, but the third is just right. Well, the same thing happens to stars. The Goldilocks Zone is where the planets orbiting a star are not too close so as to burn up and not so far away as to freeze. It needs to be within the right band to keep water liquid, not evaporating, so not too hot, and not freezing or too cold. Our own Sun is a yellow dwarf star which has a Goldilocks Zone allowing the potential for Mars, Earth and Venus to have liquid water. The fact that Mars and Venus don't is due to other factors like gravity on Mars not being dense enough to stop the solar winds taking most of the atmosphere and then evaporating the water due to low pressure. And while Venus is a lot denser in atmosphere, thick CO2 cloud causes acid rain, a runaway greenhouse effect, and the acid rain is so acidic that sulfuric acid pours from the clouds. Ouch. Well, our own Sun is unusual because most stars are red dwarfs and not yellow stars like ours, meaning that their own orbiting planets are much closer to their stars than we are. Also, the red dwarf stars burn for longer, allowing more time for life there to evolve. So assuming that this hypothesis is true, it's not unreasonable to think that an alien civilization could possibly exist and be much, much more advanced and evolved than we are. If so, it'd explain why popular alien imagery shows the grey aliens with large black eyes. Red dwarf stars don't give off as much light as our yellow sun does, and so vision would require larger eyes to see properly. So should we be worried? That's the logical next question. We've had things like the Alien films, Life, Men in Black, Independence Day, Mars Attacks, and even, to an extent, Avatar, showing us that aliens are a bad thing. Sure, in Avatar it told us that we humans suck, but the message is kind of the same. Should we be worried that the advanced aliens that travel to our planet in a similar way to what we did in Avatar are going to kill us all? We're all native to this planet. Are they going to kill us? No, I don't think so. Sure, that's the rhetoric coming out from especially the US, who want dominance in space, and you'll see that a lot. As part of the military-industrial complex, and you can look that term up as well later, it's a goldmine of information. As part of the military-industrial complex, it appears to be in the US interest to tell us all that this is a threat to our national or even global security. But why should we believe our governments anymore? They've clearly been lying to us for a very long time. My main question is why, in the name of this little blue planet, isn't the general population going absolutely nuts about this? We're not alone in the universe, and it's not an assertion based on the phenomenally overwhelming statistical evidence of billions of stars with multiple life-supporting conditions and planets in an infinite number of galaxies in an infinity of space. It's not just a guess that statistically it's ridiculously unlikely that Earth alone can and does support intelligent life. I'm not only saying that the view that we're alone is narcissistic and arrogant in the extreme, I'm also saying there is evidence now, and there is now an admission from the most powerful governments on this planet that aliens exist and are visiting us, and a suggestion from many people involved that we are actually in constant contact with these races. There's also warnings that we're ruining our planet with our pollution, and that unless something happens to awaken all the sheep-like humans on this earth to what's happening, it's not going to change. I don't know what the answer is, but I hope that this video will do something to awaken you. Share this with your friends to wake them up too. If you like this video, click that like button, ring the bell to turn on notifications, and remember, I've got a Patreon channel, an Etsy shop, website, and PayPal details all down in the description, and I'm also planning a wand battle that you should really check out. The link is up here. That's pretty much it from me for now. I'll be back next time with some more magical awesomeness, but until next time, as always...
Please subscribe to Real World Magic. While you're there, click the bell button to be notified of future uploads, and have a look at all of my social stuff. Remember to donate on Patreon if you really liked it, and I'll see you again next week.